Bill DeWeese here from voice-over-training.org, and it's good to connect with my friend Dave Courvoisier, live from Las Vegas. Dave, how are you?
I'm good, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
How you doing?
I'm
Is that what
doing
they
fine.
say in Chicago? How you doing?
How you doing? I've been trying not. Well, I guess in our line of work that could come in handy on rare occasion, but only on rare occasion. And nobody asks me to do that kind of thing for good reason. Just by way of introduction, Dave is certainly a very highly respected and high-profile voiceover talent in Las Vegas. But in addition to that, you are the evening news anchor for the CBS affiliate there, KLAS, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. That's correct.
And also, not only do you do voiceovers and you anchor the news, but you're right, you're like in the middle of all of the voiceover community activity. I mean, if there is somebody who would personify the hub of the voiceover community, I would put Dave Courvoisier right there in the middle of all of that.
Well, you're very kind, Bill. I guess I should see a shrink someday about why that seems so important to me. I just enjoy that sense of community so much. And I do. I involve myself in a lot of community building and community gathering events and conferences. And I guess there's something about it that fulfills me. And I just enjoy the camaraderie. You know, we all kind of live and work in our own space at home or in a private studio somewhere.
Right.
And it's nice to be able to connect and feel that there's someone else out there that understands what you're doing.
Absolutely. And you're just a wealth of information, a great resource in a couple of different areas. And one being the technology side of things. The other, which includes the social networking aspect of things. But you have a blog, which is, if I'm not mistaken, Courvo, COURVO.biz is the blog website, correct?
Right.
And the .com is your voiceover website. Is that right?
Right.
Okay.
Yes. And then I keep a separate website, Courvo.net, for strictly audiobook demos, because that's a different crowd entirely.
Right. Okay. Oh, and then also, and what I wanted to get at today is something I know you're embarking on a new venture with a website, which is voatoday.com. Maybe that'd be a good place to start.
We're hip deep in that. It is a full month-long September promotion, I guess you would call it. This is the third year, actually. It had an iteration in the first year that was more National Voiceover Month, which was relatively successful. But I got some kickback on that about not being international. So then the next year I chose to go with Voiceover Awareness Today, which spells vote and is a homonym for VOTE, which in this election season fits nicely. September is VOA Today month, and I just I launched a website which allows you to input answers to questions. People can build on those answers and thread down into different comments, and it not only builds community, but it's a tremendous resource considering the answers to the questions.
So this is a good place for somebody experienced as well as newbie within the industry can come and, and everybody's looking for answers. I mean, for good reason. I mean, and if you can find a resource that is rich in that, then that is a place that you definitely want to hang out. So that is VOA Today.
VOA Today and .com. And the first week's question was, could you provide a picture and a brief description of your home studio? The second week's question was, what is your minimum setup for traveling if you have to do recording or auditioning? You know, what's your mobile setup? This week is, what is your favorite CRM or customer what does that stand for?
Customer relationship management.
Customer relationship manager software, tools, how do you invoice? And these are, this third week question we're in right now is a little bit dry, but you'd be surprised the great answers I'm getting. And I'm a little bit weak in this area myself, so I was really looking forward to the answers, and I'm getting a lot of meat on the bone with these answers. It's great.
I was just on earlier today surfing and looking at some of the pictures of the studios. And it's funny because the studios are as different in appearance and personality as the people who work behind the microphone.
Isn't that the truth? And you see the spectrum from rudimentary, which are still functional, to really fancy setups. Cliff Zellman, who is an audio engineer in Dallas, has put together just a top-notch, very professional home studio. And so you see the entire spectrum.
And of course, that's one of the reasons we like to do what we do, because we like to work from our home studios.
Yeah, right.
So what are some, from where you sit, which is, like I said, kind of in the middle, the hub of much activity, what are a couple of the questions, burning questions that you are seeing coming up again and again that perhaps somebody watching this video would find helpful in knowing the answer to?
The endless question that revolves around our community is rates and what's lowballing and what's not, and what should be allowable in our business and what should be frowned upon. And that is just an endless question that seems to keep coming up and up and up. SAG-AFTRA is now one union, and they've certainly drawn a line in the sand with a certain threshold of rates. Other people say, hey, let the free market decide. It's all just a capitalistic society anyway, and you can't stop that economic force. But others say, no, you really should have some spine. You should draw a line in the sand for yourself and say, I just won't do certain work for less than blah, blah, blah. So that issue, the one of rates, is never going to go away. I like being in the middle of the tech discussion because it also is developing endlessly. Because the new materials come out all the time, new software, new hardware.
Right.
The new iPhone 5 is coming out. It's got a different plug-in in the bottom, which means that all those makers, those third-party developers of little portable microphones like Blue Microphone, are going to have to redesign their products to fit the new iPhone. Those kind of things I find really fascinating.
No, I'm curious because I know you talk a lot in your blog about technology and the latest, greatest. What are you using in terms of portable type recording gear?
I think I found my best to be a combination of the iPad with any number of 2 or 3 different combinations. One, using the Centrance MicPort Pro with any microphone I want, and then plugging it in to the iPad. I also like the AT2020 portable USB mic. I also use a all-in-one portable recorder, the Zoom H4n, which I think is probably my go-to solution because it's just so easy to pop in my suitcase and take with me, and I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to have a computer with me to record. I can download it into a computer if I need to edit. But those are some solutions. Twisted Wave is the app to use on your iPad because it's about a $10 app, but man, it does just about everything your normal DAW would do.
It's funny, when I first got into this business, one of the first things I thought about was, well, gosh, I got to get my mobile setup ready because you never know. When you're going to be called on to do something when you're on vacation. So I went and got my little porta booth set up, and I was ready to roll. Guess how many times I've used that portable setup? Just take a wild guess.
None.
In 7 years, absolutely 0 times have I used. As a matter of fact, I'm getting ready to put it up on eBay. And the reason is once I made a full-time commitment to doing this, and with my schedule, it's so hard to break away, for one thing, as you can understand, because it's, we're a commodity. It's easy to, if Bill DeWeese doesn't do it, Dave Courvoisier is very glad to pick up the slack, while I'm on vacation. So it's very rarely that I get out for more than a couple days at a time. And when I do, my wife would absolutely kill me if I took a microphone alone.
I totally hear you. And I know many people like you who set their time away and warn their clients and warn other of their associates that I'm going to be gone this week. Don't contact me. I don't want to cut audio. I want a vacation.
On the other hand, I know a guy, I recently met him, who does some higher profile movie trailer work, and he has to be available. And so he takes his stuff. He said, he'll send his kids out to the swimming pool with his wife, in the hotel, and he'll throw, quilts and blankets and pillows over his head, and then dial into Source Connect to do the ISDN patch. And, he said if they only could see me, they would probably never use me again.
That promo and trailer niche is a tough master. I know the guys that do promos, have cut network promos that air that night somewhere in the backseat of a car. It's
right.
That's a tough one.
You do what you got to do. Hey, let's talk briefly about social media, because I know that's near and dear to your heart. How are voice talent, or how can they use social media to their greatest benefit?
Well, the thing is you should do it. There's an entire generation now of global population that will not even know you exist unless you're on the net. Now, it used to be just a website. You had to make sure you have a website presence. Now, there's an equal challenge to be on social media. There's an entire global portion of the population that will not even know you exist unless you're on social media. And it's free. It's free marketing. You do have to put some time in on it. And some people get so involved in that they put too much time in and get a little bit addicted to being on social media. Others find it a struggle and they need to work at it. And that's just a personality type difference. But yeah, I would say just get on it and be on it. There's I could spend an hour on this, Bill. There are kind of some unspoken rules about being on social media. one of my top ones is don't get involved in arguments and don't get involved in flame wars. There's 3 topics I don't get involved in at all, and one's religion, the second is politics, and the third is Mac versus PC, because you will always get into an argument with somebody, and you can't win those arguments on social media. So always maintain just this nice attitude and shine it on when somebody challenges you on something.
Yeah, you're right. Those are 3 arguments, along with maybe a few others that you never are going to win. But people still love to get into the fray for whatever reason. Yep. But I would encourage people to get involved simply because there are so many very generous people. I remember when I first got into this business, when I made my shift from, I used to work in radio and then in business, and then I moved into this, and this was very new to me, and there were some very kind and generous people who gave of their time and shared information that was very helpful in getting me up and going. So you'll find a great community that's extremely supportive and very helpful. And so if for no other reason, it's a great place to plug in to get some, get questions answered.
Yeah. Absolutely, Bill, and that's all part of the community that I so enjoy, and you do start to see the same faces and names over and over and over again in these various venues, and that's okay. They become your solid friends, not just your occasional friends. And there are others who just don't quite get it, and it's not something that works for them, and they bow out eventually. I've seen that happen with people that try, and then all of a sudden I'm not seeing them anymore, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I guess it just didn't really work for them.
And by the way, you are the, I don't know what the proper term would be, but I know you're the facilitator / gatekeeper / chief cook and bottle washer of Voiceover Friends on Facebook, which is a great group.
When they first opened that up, when Facebook first opened that up for groups, that was a new function for them. I jumped on it and created Voiceover Friends. I think I was one of the first 2 or 3 voiceover Facebook groups. And it is a great resource. I'm so proud of it, and I just see so much going on. It just helps people. It makes me happy because this is the epitome of community.
Yeah, and if you are a voiceover talent, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Oh, okay. If you are a voiceover talent and you did not realize that groups like this exist, or you're not on a group, I would encourage you to check out Voiceover Friends. Now, Dave, on a more personal note, in terms of your voiceover work, what kind of things are you working on these days?
The bulk of my work would be lately audiobooks. I've really been plowing through 3 different audiobooks this month alone, which is a real challenge for me with a full-time job. But I've also I do quite a bit of e-learning, and that could be anything from medical to technical to industrial. Those are my bread and butter things, and I continually audition for that coveted commercial spot. 30 seconds for $3,000 if you can get it, and I keep knocking on that door. But I'd have to admit that the bulk of my work comes from e-learning and audiobooks.
Well, I think a lot of people don't even realize, especially when they're newer into this industry, that it doesn't just consist of the big 30-second national ads. There's a lot of work out there, much of it under the radar of the general population. Yep,
it sure is, and those are the roads you travel that make you better anyway. And I think overall it's made me a better voice talent, preparing me for perhaps some of those bigger gigs when they come along.
Yeah. Well, Dave, it's great catching up with you. Great to talk.
Same here.
I love talking business with you, voiceover business in particular. And I want to encourage everybody to check out not only Voiceover Friends on Facebook, but also certainly, do you call it Courvo.biz or Courvo.
I call it Courvo.biz. Courvo is a abbreviation of Courvoisier.
Okay.
Courvoisier is really hard to spell. Courvo became my nickname through most of college and high school, and so and it turned out that it ended in VO, so it just seemed handy.
Perfect.
So I kind of adopted
want to
that
make
as my
sure
brand.
I get that right. Okay, so Courvo.biz and of course voatoday.com. So check all of those out. And Dave, good. We were talking before the interview about Dave now transitioning into empty nest life, which we thought we would be, but everybody keeps coming back to the DeWeese household, which is good. We love it, and wish you all the best in this new phase of your life as well.
Thanks, Bill. It's always great talking to you, buddy.